from tonight. Brand new polls show Hillary Clinton winning big tomorrow in Kentucky, at least projecting. Plus, she may be closing the gap now in Oregon. So is this race really nowhere near over like Clinton says? Here with us now, David Sirota on the left and Monica Crowley on the right. Hello.
Hi, Megan.
Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what, you take a look at these polls, these latest polls, and I, for one, was pretty surprised at what's happening in Oregon. He's been killing her there in the polls, and now we see, at least according to the one poll, Suffolk poll, she is within 4 points of him. Now, I should say there are other polls that show the gap much bigger, but there's one poll showing her Suffolk 4 points away in Oregon. Monica, if she finishes in Oregon 4 points away from him, what does that do to her argument with those supers? That's a state he's expected to cream her in.
That's exactly right. And I think that her whole argument about electability and the power of her poll in the big states and in the swing states is actually gaining some traction. Now, I don't know if this particular poll is an aberration or whether it shows a trend. We'll know tomorrow night when we see the results coming out of Oregon. But her entire argument, which is completely legitimate, is that she has racked up all of the big states, including New York and California, and all of the swing states that the Democrats are going to need to win in November. That is Pennsylvania, Ohio, you look at Texas, West Virginia, where she creamed him last week by 40 points. Think about this, Megan. The fact that the presumed Democratic nominee, Barack Obama, is losing to the presumed loser at this midnight hour of this race by 30 or 40 points in these crucial states, that does not bode well for him.
What do you say to that, Dave? That sounds like a good point.
Well, look, I think Oregon is really where it's at. I think you've pinpointed that, and I think the fact that Barack Obama has been ahead and still remains ahead in a state that is as crucial to the election as Oregon, I think that's a huge thing. And I also think demographically, it's also a big thing that he is ahead and has remained ahead. Remember, we've talked a lot about race in this campaign and how does race play. Oregon is a mostly white state. It does not have a large African American population. So if Barack Obama is able to win that state, I don't care if it's by 4 points, 10 points, 20 points. The fact is, I think that explodes both the idea that he can't win in states that are swing states and that he can't win in states that have a large, mostly white population.
You know, I think it's very telling, Megan, that Barack Obama is going to choose to spend tomorrow night after the results from Kentucky and Oregon come in the state of Iowa for the exact point that David was pointing out, which is that he is now struggling to make the argument that, yes, in fact, he can appeal to those working class white voters that Hillary Clinton has coming to her in droves. Because remember, that first victory in Iowa was the one that set him down the path that he could attract white voters.
Oh, look, we finally have the poll up. 45 to 41.
Better late than never.
4 points away. That's what I was trying to refer to earlier, David. You know, that's obviously not good good news for him. Of course, it could be an aberration, as I say. But listen, the bottom line is, as Maria Cardona from the Clinton campaign just mentioned, it comes down to the supers. Even if she finishes within 4 points in Oregon and she creams him in Kentucky, is that going to convince these supers to go behind her instead of him, David?
I cannot believe that the superdelegates would overturn the pledge delegates. I can't believe they would overturn essentially the person who won the nomination fair and square. I just can't believe that they would do that. Look, it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible. But here's what I think is going on in the superdelegates' head. I think they're also they're not only thinking about electability, they're thinking what move would they make would most demoralize the Democratic Party base. I think there's a case to be made that if the superdelegates gave the nomination to Hillary Clinton over all of these factors, I think the case can be made that it would demoralize in a very serious way the Democratic base.
You know, David, I think that you're right, but I think there's also a case to be made that regardless of which of these two candidates the Democrats go with, there is going to be some demoralization because Hillary Clinton has mobilized a lot of people. You know, all the talk about Barack Obama bringing a lot of people into this process, absolutely true, but it's also true that Hillary Clinton has as well, especially with women and older voters.
Yeah, and that's why you'll have to watch him be
very
calculated in his language tomorrow night so he doesn't offend her or her supporters. By the way, we were going to show you this great quote that she said about Al Gore and John Kerry, but the machine froze. So you have to wait for that to the next time. David Sirota, Monica Crowley, thanks so much for being here. Her basic point was that she can win the states they didn't win, and she could win the whole election.